The world we left behind was a world of magic, a time when darkness thrived. The wealthy exploited its power, treating commoners as expendable. They used the poor as conduits to shield themselves from magic's harmful effects. Now, with the outlawing of magic and the rise of medicine and science, life has improved for many, but the desire for magic still lingers. Nobles huddle together, secretly funding magicians' research, keeping magic hidden within the shadows. Amidst the secrecy, Marigold, a visionary, strives to make magic accessible to all, and as a force for good. Few outside the privileged circles find their way into the realm of magic. Marigold is such an exception, dedicated to bringing magic to everyone, striving to make it a force for good in the world, and she shall be our focus for the character design I'm bringing you today. So salutations everyone, welcome to my look on the internet. I am Clementine, and today I thought I would put together a simple character design of a magician within my story. I will be covering her as a character, her role in the story, and the design decisions I made while the speed paint goes on in the background. So hope you enjoy. Marigold is a stern and straightforward individual, highly insightful about her surroundings. Though she struggles socially, she is great at interpreting people, but fails at persuading people, relying mostly on deception to keep herself safe. She is generally interested in learning from others and is open to guidance and mentorship. Her beliefs are rooted in the faith of Don, the Sun faith, though her views of the use of magic are split. While the faith typically shuns magic, she views it openly, as a tool that can be used for both good and evil. She's curious and resourceful, but often lacks the material resources for a well-rounded intelligence, relying mostly on whatever she can scavenge. She has a tendency to rush into things, often getting herself hurt in the process, with one of their biggest fears being slowing down and failing, so she continuously stays active, rarely taking a break, often leading to a toll on her body. Her flaws include stubbornness, rushing into situations without fully understanding them, and the occasional insensitivity to altering views, as she's very push-forwards within it. She's easily annoyed by arrogance and closed-mindedness, particularly when it comes to the hoarding of knowledge and the refusal to share it, especially the knowledge of magic. Her role within my story is of a journey of self-discovery and redemption, exploring how a hero can become a villain. Whether she'll find redemption or not is something I won't spoil as of current. Marigold is the oldest of the government's illegitimate children, and one of the few to have survived. After her mother was murdered during the original witch hunts, Mary grew up on the streets, constantly moving from place to place. Her life made a drastic change when she discovered a grimoire, which set her on the path to bring magic to the common people, believing it would help them. Mary became a catalyst for the rebellion within the capital, seeking justice for the governor's misdeeds after his death. Although she initially split from the rebellion due to some disagreements, she eventually returned to assist them while working under a mysterious individual. Currently, Marigold is an apprentice to this mysterious individual. Her father, the ex-governor, who is essentially a walking corpse, although you wouldn't call him an undead as he very much has a living, breathing body. Her father is plotting to overthrow the government he once served and establish his own vision of a magical order. While she desires magic for all, he desires it for a select few. She does recognize her father's vast knowledge of magic and studies under him to gain what knowledge she can. She serves as a messenger between her father and the rebellion, whom he supports with his magical expertise, hoping to weaken the overall government for his time to strike. My initial design goal was to create a magician character for my setting, who serves as an apprentice to the governor, and eventually becomes the catalyst for some late story events. The governor, knowledgeable in magic but uses it very sparingly, contrasts well with an apprentice who uses a lot of magic, but lacks the in-depth knowledge behind it. My goal was to initially create a live-action concept art piece, so I made designs of a pose view with an enlarged head to showcase close-up facial details. I included 2 alternate outfits and a beach episode outfit which was suggested humorously, and I had to add it. Additionally, I provided a base front and back view to highlight the tattoos, which would be useful for makeup artists and serve as reference for game modelers if they were ever to be adapted in the game. While I don't foresee that happening, it is the design philosophy I use for all my designs if possible. And for streamlining the design, I used 3D models of characters to draw over to save myself the time. Her main clothing draws inspiration from the cultural design I created a bit earlier on screen, as she is a part of that culture. The primary colours of this culture are turquoise and an off-white, with red and yellow accents occasionally. I incorporated some browns and muted turquoise to reflect her lower class status. The clothes tend to be light yet layered, protecting from the sun and the extremely cold nights the ocean brings in. These influences are a blend of different styles, incorporate elements from various periods and regions. I would like to do a more dedicated focus on the clothing to make the culture a bit more distinct with different clothing groups depending on your social class. However, I'll get to that down in the future perhaps. Initially, I designed her with a covered head using wrappings or headwear. However, after sketching a thumbnail with her hair loose, I loved the shape it provided and decided to keep it. Her hair is naturally green, a trait common to ethnicities of the northern world, which she inherited from her father. Her father wears many braids, with 2 hanging in front, so I decided to give her 4 braids in the front, leaving the rest of her hair loose. I felt this linked her design nicely with her father's, but added a bit more chaos to her, which I further pushed with the varying lengths of her braid. One of the challenges was balancing her portrayal of being poor while being covered in gold, which served as a storage capsule for the mana that she would use as a magician. So I decided to have her covered in bandages from intense burn wounds and dressed partially in burnt clothing to offset the gold. The gold pieces themselves are random, mismatched, scavenged, gifted, or stolen, just to further make it a bit more disjointed. And for the alternate outfits, I made to repeat the pieces of garments, as she would have a limited amount of clothing available to her, so she would have to reuse them where possible. Early on, I decided that Marigold would be covered in numerous tattoos, each holding significant meaning. Initially, I planned to simplify some of the designs I created, but I chose to instead make darker sections, maintaining their complexity while adding some visual separation between the elements. The tattoos I settled on were deeply symbolic. Her chest features a central eye, a depiction of how her culture represents spirits. On her shoulder, I placed a marigold, linking it to her name, of course. Surrounding the marigold are flames akin to a sun, which extend across her right arm, symbolizing her association with fire. And to add variety and sense of balance, I included some smoke designs on her right leg. One unique tattoo is a depiction of the magician's lungs, where the lung broccoli changes shape to resemble a fiddlehead fern. This intricate design appears primarily on her chest, her thighs, and on her left hand, aiding her in pulling mana from jewelry, which typically requires a very specialized instrument. However, she is able to do it just merely with magic and the assistance of the tattoos. She also has a copper ring on that finger to further provide aid to this. The finger chosen for this is linked to the vein of love, which traditional belief establishes that this vein runs directly from the 4th finger of the left hand to our heart. Her association with fire is a deliberate choice of mine to contrast her well with her half-sibling, Anas, the rebellion's current leader. Anas, whose name means water in the local tongue, embodies the calm and intensity of the sea. I felt this pairing worked well, as Marigold's fiery, reckless, and dangerous nature, when controlled, could illuminate the path, just as a flame can guide in the darkness. Both can be calm or dangerous, but both are opposites. Given that magic affects a character's biology within my setting, I initially gave her the standard 6 fingers that you commonly find amongst magicians. However, to help her blend in with the population and for the sake of interesting design, I had her cut off the extra digits, earning her the title of the 5-fingered magician. For her eyes, I gave it a unique shape and made them gold, mimicking the fire she wields, which with her flatter nose gives it almost like a feline look, which I think helps with that reckless persona I had given her. I considered giving her a deformed face, but ultimately decided against this as it lent a little too close to monster design, and as I felt that may become difficult to read with her tattoos and burns. But maybe if she continues to use magic as recklessly, I could do that design of her as a monster. And that will do it for this character design. Hopefully I can get myself to finish the other characters I have laying around. And again, I feel that there's so much magic lore to explain that I really should consider making a video dedicated to it. But I have so many ideas for food related videos that I just have to get out my system. The next video itself, however, will be of a redesign of sirens to better fit my setting. Not wanting to spoil too much, but I have this as a little snippet. I've already finished the design, so I hopefully can just plump out a quick script and get that recorded, but we'll see how long that takes me. Simultaneously, I have been working on some food-related art, covering some ingredients and cuisine of the regions, which I was hoping to potentially do a general overview of the base ingredients, and then just dive into each region individually. However, I feel it's going to be far more interesting to go biome by biome, creating a few dishes for each one and then moving on as I go. So look forward to that. I'm having a blast drawing food. And thank you for watching and for being part of this journey with me. Your support and feedback are invaluable, and I appreciate your engagement. So please feel free to like, comment, and ask any questions. I'm always happy to connect with you. And until next time, take care, stay creative, and drink some water. This is a threat.